welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. My name is Candice Marie. I'll be your astrologer today. Thanks for watching. Happy Thursday. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm back at it with another video, and today we're going to be taking an upcoming look at this full moon in the sign of Leo. If you guys like my content, you want to see more of it, make sure you subscribe and click the bell button below. This will alert to you as when I'm here for my videos on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Sundays. I like to incorporate tarot and astrology to make sense of what's going on in the cosmos. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you like this video, consider sharing with other astro fans, and leave me a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think is going to happen. What a dramatic full moon this is going to be. I love hearing your guys' comments, and as always, thank you guys for your support. Any interaction with this channel really helps the channel grow, so make sure you leave me a comment below. February 12th, 2025, we are going to have quite the spectacular event of a full moon in Leo. This will be happening at 5:53 a.m. Pacific time, 7:53 a.m. Central, and 8:53 a.m. on the Eastern Coast. I know we've got people all over the world, so you can adjust your time zones accordingly, but trust me, you're not going to miss this one. Obviously, a full moon in Leo is when we have the sun in Aquarius and the moon in Leo. This is a climactic event, obviously, as something is coming to the surface, and it's a big one because we see a continuation of waves that are being sent, shock waves from Uranus. So Uranus and Taurus is involved in this T-square during this full moon. Now, if you guys follow degree astrology like I do, you can see here that this full moon is going to be at 24 degrees. So this is a degree that's going to correlate and kind of connect to Pisces themes, okay? So things that are kind of more Neptunian, stuff that can be more spiritual, stuff that can be a little crazy. And I'm going to read to you guys some more this week from my degree theories. And if you guys follow this, you know that 12 and 24 correlates with Pisces. The degree theory gives us a little bit more context in terms of what might materialize during the time of this full moon. And 12 degrees always deals with, or 24 in this case, things that disappear. Things that have disappeared may reappear, okay? That can be the theme with this full moon. This can also be about losing things, secrets, and stuff that has been kept secret or unexplored coming to the surface. Fears, phobias, anything in regards to mental issues or mental institutions, diseases or hospitals, things that are invisible, medications, outskirts of town, isolated places, monasteries, temples or churches, things that are divine in nature, hotels, hotel management, things at night, errors, oil, gas, or gas stations, or gasoline. That's going to be something you guys are going to want to watch, particularly gasoline and gas drilling. Photos, photography, drugs, false, vague, vague or obscure. Research labs, sea, fishermen, fish nets, drowning, poisons, and things that run away or escape. Okay, so just some food for thought on that. And as always, I'm also going to read to you guys the Sabian symbol and how this correlates. And we're going to read 25 of Leo. And this is going to give us a little bit more insight to the particular degrees. So if you guys follow this, this is a large camel crossing the desert. So the theme is endurance. The symbol speaks to courage and personal endurance and the ability to overcome limitations and come out on top of things. Here is a fearless based on experience and the ability to survive hardships. On a practical level, this may take the form of unrelenting persistence and refusal to give up until every possible mean to achieve the goal has been exhausted. This is a do-it-yourself degree. The images of a large camel crossing the desert suggest self-sufficiency, or whatever is needed for survival lies within the individual himself. The desert symbolizes the environment that gives little in the way of sustainment, and therefore this symbol implies lack of outer assistance or cooperation. The camel is a beast of burden. There is also a caution here to resist taking on the problems of others to the detriment of self. At its highest, it symbolizes tenacious perseverance, a tireless giving of self, and a remarkable ability to overcome difficulties. Watch for callous indifference to the needs of others or excessive self-indulgence. The accent is on endurance. Your ability to keep going in the face of hardship and limitation may be tested today. Your greatest advantage lies in taking things one step at a time and keeping your eye on the goal ahead. Believe in yourself, you can do it. Guard against rough hood of others in the process of trying to accomplish your own goals. On the other hand, don't overburden yourself by taking on the responsibility and the problems of others. Stepping stones are endurance, survival, fortitude, stamina, determination, self-containment, self-mobilization, persistence, perseverance, self-sufficiency, independence, and self-reliance. Interesting, with the moon being in Leo, right? The self and the dramas of life generally play out during this full moon. You know, my hot take on this is essentially that this is going to be about personal growth. And obviously full moons are about some kind of completion or fulfillment. So many of us during this full moon might be experiencing a situation where, you know, we'll find ourselves in a situation where we're having to rely on our inner strength, right? And that's what Leo is all about. This is about really navigating through a period of scarcity or loneliness. I also think it's about the journey when you think about camels and how they're used for transportation and travel. So this could be a time where you're being reminded of your resilience, much like the camel moving through life's deserts with a purpose. So, you know, I think that the wild card and curveballs are going to continue as we see squares to Uranus actually coming into the full moon. It looks like it'll square at 23. And now if you guys saw my video on Tuesday, you know that Uranus will be direct. So there is going to be some kind of further quickening of some of these, you know, situations globally with food, resources, money, and energy. And the Sun and Mercury will also be in a square. So Mercury will square just about a day or so early. So we're going to get the news about how there's going to be some major, you know, turning points for humanity, also for the internet, also for groups, also for politics, and how that's influencing or impacting some of the changes happening in Taurus. And then we're going to see that moon square Uranus, which does represent emotionally feeling a little bit discombobulated or shocked or surprised. And Leo is always about the individual, right? The artist, the lover, the creative, children, youth, versus Aquarius, which is talking more about the collective. And so we're seeing like this tug of war that's going on between what's best for individuals and what's going to be best for corporations, for governments, for groups of people, for the masses. And that this is going to be a turning point or a reckoning to find the middle ground, especially as we are implementing new technologies in food, in resources, seeing, you know, quite, you know, significant shifts going on with our planet, new technologies and things that are coming online, and how that's going to be influencing banking as well as trade. So all of these things are going to kind of come to a head right around the time of this particular full moon. Watch for it though with the Mercury square. Watch for it also at the end of January with Uranus going direct. Now, obviously, this is, in my opinion, this is an electrifying full moon. Full moons in general, we have one every month. We also see that, you know, we have to take a look at the ruler and the aspects of the full moon to kind of get a bigger picture of what's going to be materializing. But I think that, you know, when we talk about the themes of a full moon in Leo, it's obviously going to be about self-expression, right? And so when we look at the Leo moon squaring Uranus, it's going to be about, well, self-expression versus sudden change, and where we might express ourselves, act out in some way, create something, do something, and how that can have radical effects when it comes to our resources, our self-esteem, and our stability. So there's this urge to shine, right, with the moon in Leo, but it's clashing with unexpected disruptions or innovations that are happening outside of us. This is also about the heart. Leo is about the heart, the soul, and our emotional expression and how it's being challenged, you know, or challenging our need for routine and security. Taurus is connected to Venus. It's about being secure and having the resources we need, having the relationships we need, and being in our comfort zone. And so we're going to kind of act out a little bit, I think, with this moon square, where matters of the heart or taking chances or risks or romantic relationships are somehow being impacted by the sudden changes going on with our resources. But watch, because Leo moons, they always bring something, and that something is drama. And a little bit of drama can be good. It can keep things interesting. But I feel like this is about drama and innovation. That sudden innovations are bringing up some dramatic scenarios for us around the world. Some dramatic moments where we're pushed to break free from the old and embrace the new. And that's what Aquarius is all about. As you see, the sun is in Aquarius. So the dispositor of the moon is the sun, because the sun rules Leo, and the sun is in its other sign. So it's a bit debilitated here, not only because it's in its opposite home sign, but also because it is squaring its dispositor, Uranus. So this is what we call a T-square. You guys have heard me use the term getting T-boned with T-squares, where you're going in one direction and wham, something hits you out of nowhere that you don't see coming. That's what this full moon is going to be bringing up for a lot of people. Not necessarily literally, more figuratively, more intuitively, you know, more in a sense of waking up and having this realization, and then the dramas of life kind of playing out. But I predict it could actually go a lot better than a lot of people speculate. I think that this could be a profound full moon for personal breakthroughs. So I'm expecting moments for many of us where we're feeling like pushed out of our comfort zone, but it's a good thing. It like leads to personal growth and a new way of expressing ourselves. I'm also anticipating some relationship shifts. Obviously, if we see squares to anything in Taurus ruled by Venus, Leo is about drama, romance, and connection with other people. So we can see some dramatic shifts in relationships where one or both parties are seeking freedom or change. Now watch for creative uprisings. I think this is going to be a theme as well. You know, this like urge to do something different with a creative project, or hobbies, you know, might hit us hard in some way. Children are possibly going to kind of factor into this, and how much money we are putting into raising our kids, educating our kids, supporting our kids. And the youth may be kind of speaking out in some significant way as well. Now, obviously, you guys know me. I like to give you lots of recommendations. If you guys haven't seen my 2025 Astro Calendar, check it out. I have it for sale in print and digital form. And each month I do a little tidbit on each zodiac sign and ways to ritualize throughout the month. But I like to give you guys some helpful tips in how to work with some of these lunations. So if you are a crystal or rock hound, I recommend either picking up or carrying with you during this full moon some citrine, which can be great for confidence and creativity. Tiger's eye, which is really about channeling courage and also grounding amidst all of this change. And pyrite, which can be really helpful for Leo's kind of golden energy and also attracting some abundance or some good luck. Now, if you like to work with herbs, you can do that too. And the reason why I'm really recommending like herbs and rocks and crystals is because of this T-square. So it's going to help us kind of like ground ourselves a little bit better during the full moon. But if you work with herbs, if you like to incorporate herbs into your baths or your incense burners, or you like to maybe put them on a candle or put it in some tea, I recommend working with rose, because I think rose can be really helpful for self-love, and that's really playing into the energy of the Leo full moon. It's great for heart-centered rituals as well, as is like cacao if you guys work with that. I would also recommend sunflowers. So you can buy sunflowers, you can put the petals out on an altar space. And this is that connection to the solar energy of Leo, which is promoting joy and vitality. I also like marigolds. I think marigolds are going to be wonderful for this, for protection and boost to our inner light. Now for rituals under a full moon, I'm just going to tell you, be careful what you ask for with this one, because it can be a bit kind of chaotic. Something might come, but in a very unexpected way. I like to use, I think for this, a mirror ritual. Standing in front of a mirror, affirming your worth, also declaring your intentions, and I would use citrine specifically to amplify some of these intentions that you guys are doing during this full moon. Visualizations are really important when you're dealing with 24s, because we have to kind of see it in our mind's eye before it can fully manifest. Obviously, we can work with fire. This is a full moon that is in a fire sign. So candles, bonfires, even a fireplace ritual would be wonderful. I would just write down what you want to release and burn it safely. And this is symbolizing the kind of transformative fire and how we're working with sudden change with the Uranus square. Or if you're feeling a little spunky, just get out there and move, dance, be creative, move freely, and express your inner truth. And this is really about capturing Leo's love for performance, drama, as well as theater. But anything creative that you can do under this full moon would be wonderful as well. Now for aspects, obviously, we're going to get into the nitty gritty. As many of you guys know, a full moon is when you have the sun and the moon oppose each other. So it's going to be showing the polarity between these two signs, the group collective versus the inner personal self, the heart-centered space, the creative self, anything revolving around your self-expression, your hobbies, your happiness, your joy, that kind of stuff is being kind of aspected. And these are fixed planets, okay? So we're going to see that they're both going to want to kind of stand and hold that energy in those perspective houses. Now, the square is the moon square Uranus, which is going to bring the sudden turn of events or turn of luck for some people when it comes to romance, creativity, children. And we've got the sun square Uranus also. And that sun square was happening kind of like the 10th and the 11th. So you're going to start feeling the energy of like, whoa, you know, collectively, everyone or everything is kind of getting on board with the future. And this is how it's going to be impacting or incentivizing the sudden dramatic change that's happening in the Taurus area of your chart. Or in this case, I think it's really going to be about food. I think it's really going to be about money. I think it's really going to be about the planet. These are kind of the hot themes kind of connected to Taurus. And while this square comes in, Venus is in Aries. It's still in shadow, but it's now in a sign that is more Martian related. This can mean that we're seeing dramatic movements going on revolving around money and women, and also connections and themes to Aries stuff. War, it could be conflict, it could be, you know, finding it difficult maybe to find the peace in certain relationships, or our own personal individual values. Aries is what's like significantly changing. No real aspects going on other than that. I think the biggest one is really going to be this this T-square. But if you notice, a couple days before this new moon, there was a cazimi that will take place, and that conjunction to Mercury means that there's some information coming to light. As you guys know, Mercury is associated with the South Node in Virgo, so it's going to be about the collective coming together, new information, new ideas, new groups that are going to be speaking on changes that's going on with jobs, going on with the service industry, changes in technology that's impacting that. Also, changes that are going to be happening revolving around leadership and health systems. And so there can be some significant news coming out. It can be confirmations and things going on. Obviously, that's going to be all taking place throughout this next week if you guys are watching this towards the end of January. And I'm speculating that it can be about how the collective is reacting or responding to the potential for, you know, bringing on RFK Jr. to, you know, be the director of health here in the United States. I think it's health and working with those services. And so I say that because this tells me that there's going to be a change, the Mercury conjunction, a change in leadership and some announcement. And then the impact of these squares to Uranus and Taurus, how that impacts food and drug manufacturers, how that's impacting what we buy, what we consume, how we're growing food, what's put in it. And there in turn could radically impact the stocks of some of these companies, the resources also that are going to be changing because of changes in leadership and changes in environmental studies, and laws and regulations as well. So yeah, that's definitely going to be a big one. Mercury is combust at the time of this full moon, so it is under the beams of the sun. It is ahead of the sun, but it's very close. So it could mean that our minds are on fire revolving around these new innovations and things coming out. Obviously, it's about new technology as well, and I've been following this closely throughout this last week. Yes, there's all kinds of new AI that's coming out that we're seeing now that is just totally outperforming some of the most recent AI softwares and systems that we've had. And it's just how the collective is responding to this. And I think it can be good in some ways because some of these things can be very instrumental in helping us navigate, you know, better keeping track, organization, maybe even staying on top of some of our finances, some of our bills, things revolving around productivity, and how for those of us who know how to implement it and use it well, it can radically change our financial situation. It can help us make money. It can help us become more productive and also save costs on some jobs. So we might find that this is going to be brought into some spheres where it can really increase productivity and bring down costs. So we'll see how that plays out. That's kind of like a double-edged sword. Obviously, Sun and Mercury in Aquarius, very much about conspiracies. Okay, we're going to hear a lot more about conspiracies revolving around the stability of the banking system and how this incoming administration in the United States is going to be impacting the rules and the regulations revolving around financial matters. And this could be how banks are functioning, what kind of resources they're taking, whether or not they're working with cryptocurrencies, what's going on with exchanges, how maybe collectively we're all kind of adapting to this, and it's becoming more so user-friendly when it comes to goods and services, being able to transact using crypto, and that may be something that's going to be new and kind of hot over like the next couple of months. Now, Mars is still in Cancer. It is retrograde, but at this point, it's hovering around the degree in which it will go direct in. So just about a week later, Mars will go direct. So nothing's happening with Mars other than we do see that Mars and Saturn are in a trine. So it is saying, you know what, things are a little dramatic. They're kind of hectic during this full moon. Yes, it's going to bring on some financial change and challenges, but Mars trine Saturn means that basically we need to reflect on what's happened in the past, what did and did not work, especially in our home countries or when it comes to home and family dynamics. Mars is the gas on the gas pedal. Saturn lays the foundation for something. So we can, through taking cautious steps forward, thinking about where we're going when it comes to our home, our family, or our home country, have better direction, be more so grounded, a little bit more practical, conservative, careful when it comes to taking action or implementing long-term plans. So, you know, it does stabilize things a little bit, but it is in water signs. So it's like, okay, our emotions are going to be a little bit more so stable and reserved, I'm hoping. And for some people, you're not going to feel like that because the moon square Uranus is like, whoa, didn't see that coming, you know, and there is some kind of dramatic outburst or episode. We still have the North Node Neptune conjunction brewing. Venus is out of that now, but still it's kind of hard to kind of see clearly. Stuff seems very vague and kind of foggy. And at least Jupiter is direct. So at this time, Jupiter, which is the ruler of the North Node, is direct in Gemini. It is now going to be moving forward. So this means that even though things seem confusing or it might seem dire for some or things are kind of breaking down, some people are going to be hopeful and they're leaning into some of the trines that we saw prior to this full moon from the Sun, from Mercury in Aquarius, trining Jupiter. It means that there are going to be groups of people saying, look, we need to get together. We need to come up with solutions. We need to better communicate. We also need better, transparency. We need more honesty. We need people to be more in alignment with their morals. We need to be also having a variety of different voices. Jupiter and Gemini is about opposing kind of belief systems and like being able to bring people together and find that middle ground. So a little bit of a odd series of aspects that we're going to be seeing under this full moon. I'm really curious to see what's going to happen. I think what interests me the most and what I put down in my notes is that the last 2 years, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there's been a lot of action in Leo. And, you know, in 2024, in August, we had a Mercury retrograde that started in Virgo and it went right through this degree. We also saw in summer of 2023, we had a Venus retrograde that went right through these degrees. So the later degrees of Leo does deal with leadership, global leaders, independent leaders, brave, bold, big egos, right? People who are like, I'm the king. It's a very regal sign. And how, now that we're in 2025, some of these leaders have fallen, scourge to Uranus, and some have actually been able to overcome some economic challenges, or maybe they've gone against the grain. They're a little different. They're also more so conservative because Taurus is about being conservative. And we're seeing a lot of clash with some opposing views and beliefs. And really the truth is that we're going to see who is going to be the best leader is going to be the one who is really driving hard economic policies, because the hard aspects to Uranus represents change. Taurus is going to be about money. I think you're going to be hearing a lot more about tariffs and things that are going on with changes in resources and sales and import, export. That could be another thing that we could see, particularly seaports and port cities could be a theme with all of this happening at 24 degrees. Now I want to show you guys the new moon that this was, because we have a new moon and then 6 months later it evolves into a full moon. So I want to take you back to this last summer when we were having the Mercury retrograde, when we were having the new moon. And obviously Mars has been retrograde through Leo too. I should have said that, but it hasn't been around the same degrees, but still, my goodness, so many retrogrades in the sign of Leo. It's crazy. So if we go back in time and we look at the new moon, it was on August 4th, 2024. This was a new moon at 12 degrees. Interesting correlation, huh? We have 12 and we have 24, both Pisces degrees. And this new moon, obviously the sun was in its home sign, but we saw that the sun was, and the moon and also Venus had come into opposition with Pluto. So it was still highlighting these opposing forces. It was still bringing up challenges in terms of collective uprisings and kind of collective wake-ups and freak-outs going on with Pluto and Aquarius. And not as many hard aspects maybe to Uranus. This was a little wide, but certainly Venus was squaring it. So this time around, we don't see the Venus square, but it was promising that in 6 months' time, when this becomes a full moon, that we were going to see some wild things shaking out with leadership, with money, and also themes revolving around children, celebrities, stars is very much Leo. And my goodness, what has happened over like the last 6 months? There's been a lot of information and disclosure revolving around that. All the oppositions to Pluto have brought that up, both through the Mercury retrograde, now through the Mars retrograde, and we still have one more Mars-Pluto opposition coming up in April. So think about what you seeded 6 months ago. What were you visualizing? What were you hoping? What was your heart telling you wanted? Where was maybe there's some confusion when it comes to love and money? Now it's all going to be coming full circle. So I want to show you guys where this is going to be taking place for each and every one of the rising signs. And I'm going to be doing this from the perspective of the whole sign Western system. So you're going to want to listen to your rising sign followed by your sun and your moon sign. If you're a Placidus user, that's okay. You can just look for where 24 degrees of Leo is in your chart. That is going to show you where the full moon will be taking place. And listen to your sun sign too. Your sun sign will definitely correlate, as will your moon sign. It may hit on some things, but I think that you're going to see most of the themes revolving around your ascendant be the most accurate. Don't forget to watch out for where Uranus is. Many of you guys who watched the video on Tuesday, you already know Uranus is awake. So we need to take into consideration that there is something outside of us in the Taurus area of our chart that is bringing up this sudden change of matters of the heart, change of relationships, change in terms of how we are gambling, spending our money, what's going on with the markets, and also whether or not we're willing to take a chance. And if we take chances, for some of us, it might actually play out and pay off during this full moon. All right, so let's take a look. As a reminder, Leo, sun, moon, and rising, especially anything around 23, 24, 25 degrees, you guys are going to be feeling this most strongly. This full moon will be February 12th, 2025, very early in the morning, okay? All right, so let's take a look. We're going to start with Aries and Aries risings. What's going on, Aries? I hope you're doing well. I'm excited to chat with you. I want to give you some info, and I will also pull some cards on the effects of this full moon in Leo for you. So first of all, this is going to be happening in your 5th house. And this is a fellow sister fire sign. So if you happen to have 22 to 25 degrees, Aries, sun, moon, or rising, you're going to experience a trine, which I think is going to kind of lighten things up. I think it's going to bring you the opportunity to have a little bit more fun, a little bit more action. A full moon obviously brings some kind of conclusion or completion. So you're going to be experiencing the full moon in your 5th house. All right, so the 5th house deals with your creativity. It deals with self-expression, so it's going to be spotlighted in some way. Now, you might find yourself in the limelight or starting or completing a new creative venture. I think the themes here are just about self-expression, leadership, as well as romance or children. And I really recommend initiating a project that showcases your talent or engaging in activities that make you feel proud of yourself and proud to kind of put yourself out there. Now, obviously, pregnancy can be a theme, your children. It can also be themes revolving around big turning points in romantic relationships. This is all about who you are and what you create and what you share with the world. Now, remember, it's squaring Uranus, so it's creating this T-square to the second house. And it's kind of like where taking chances and creating something could actually pay off if you're willing to take a risk. All right, so let's see what card I get for you, my Aries and Aries risings. The card that I get for you is the Emperor. Oh, I love this. It could be about parenting here, okay? It could be about a relationship with a parent. Usually this is connected to like fathers or showing up or like mastering something, being your own boss, launching your own creative business can be a theme here. And really owning it, being like, yes, this is mine, I created this, and having like a sense of pride and really showing up and making sure that you're getting the job done. And that can be as simple as just expressing yourself and talking about what's in your heart and really sticking to your guns when it comes to your values and matters revolving around the 5th house, okay? I love that card for you, Aries. Let me know what happens. We've got Taurus and Taurus rising. What's going on, Taurus? We've got a full moon that's going to be happening for you in Leo, in your natal 4th house. Obviously, this is a sign that squares you. It is going to square Uranus in your sign if you're a Taurus rising. So you got anything 22 to 25 degrees. Just be mindful that you are the center of some of the change happening between your career as well as your home. But we know that when we have a full moon in the 4th house, it's kind of bringing our attention to our home and family. And these people, these characters, or your relationship to your home is going to take center stage. So there might be some real emotional revelations. Celebrations can occur here. You know, the themes obviously are home, family, and emotional security. Watch for themes revolving around your parents. That can also be a theme. And I recommend creating a nurturing environment at home, you know, hosting or gathering and doing a family ritual or something to honor your roots. Home cleansing, home blessing. But some of you guys also might be returning home, visiting family, having a family member come and stay with you. There can also be themes revolving around buying, selling, moving, or big changes in regards to one of your family members. Now, this is going to be squaring Uranus in your sign, which means you're kind of getting pulled in between two different parts of your chart. On one hand, things are just really powerhouse in your career zone, but some stuff's going on that's kind of making you feel a little bit pulled in an opposite direction. Like, okay, what about my kids? What about my parents? What's going on with my roommates? You know, what's happening with the lease? And you may have to kind of, you know, be more present for some of that stuff. Maybe feel like you're getting your workout, but, you know, not overly prioritizing or overextending yourself too much out in the world so you can deal with what's going on the home front. Can feel a little destabilizing with the squares to Uranus. So just try to keep your cool. Don't really feel like, you know, you want to be getting into it with people at work. Certainly some of the squares can bring up some tension with a boss or someone, but I feel like this is about you recognizing if something is important, you can kind of take a step back and you can prioritize that and really kind of put your heart and soul into home and family matters. The card that I got for you is the 7 of Wands, and this is a card that's about standing your ground, not backing down. It might be that you're going back and forth, you know, trying to kind of win a bidding war for a home, or maybe you're feeling like you need to be there to protect a home or a family member or a situation involving the two. It can also mean that you're overcoming some of the challenges. You're just really feeling like you need to kind of have your wits about yourself during this lunation. And I do see that this is a card that is about being successful in overcoming obstacles. Good luck, Taurus. We've got Gemini and Gemini rising. You guys are going to experience a full moon in Leo in your natal 3rd house. So this is going to show the axis of the opposition between the sun and the moon in the 3rd and the 9th house, which has this connection to like education, learning, transportation. Obviously, the full moon, when it comes in, it's going to oppose Mercury, which is your chart ruler. So it can be talking about there being some back and forth in communications, or maybe there's something going on with a sibling or something going on with a trip or travel, and there's something changing that's impacting how you learn, what you believe in, and how you get around. So just kind of keep that in mind. I predict that you might communicate much more passionately or find yourself in like a heated discussion. Certainly writing or speaking could yield very significant results. I love a full moon in the third house for, putting out a blog, launching a website, something revolving around learning or a short distance trip can definitely come up. So focus on communication, ideas, and travel. Be mindful of neighbors and siblings during this time because stuff can be coming up with them as well. And I really recommend, like I said, writing something. So like starting a blog, creating a new social media account, writing poetry, or even engaging in public speaking. You want to use this energy to speak your truth. And what's interesting is that the moon is going to square Uranus. The sun and the moon are going to square Uranus, and even Mercury squaring Uranus. So it tells me that maybe you've been taking a step back, observing what's been going on in the world, thinking about things, journaling, meditating on it, and then suddenly like a light switch flips and you're like, that's it, I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna make a post, or I'm gonna say something that kind of speaks my mind, and it might gain a lot of traction and visibility during the full moon. The card that I get for you is the sun. So this is wonderful because the sun is an energy obviously connected to Leo. It is about some kind of breakthrough or joy. Particularly, it's positive for results connecting to career and getting some kind of recognition after overcoming some challenges. I wonder if there could be a theme revolving around contracts or agreeing to something or some positive news in regards to your career. And obviously the sun at the time is conjunct Mercury. So that can also be a sign that's like, hey, a couple of days prior to this, like the 9th, the 10th, watch for when the Sun-Mercury conjunction happens. Possibly you're going to be getting news, good news that is going to be shifting your belief or maybe prompting some kind of travel opportunity for you. Love that for Gemini. We've got Cancer and Cancer rising. You guys are going to experience a full moon in Leo in your natal second house. Obviously, this is very financial for my Cancers and my Capricorns because it's going to be hitting the 2nd and the 8th house axis. So for you, Cancer, the themes of the second house are always stuff connected to values, finances, self-worth, money in the bank, personal possessions. So it's possible with this full moon that financial gains or opportunities might arise unexpectedly. And your values or how you earn money can shift in some way. Now, it's not unusual with the full moon here. A check comes in, there's a payout, but there can also be money that goes out as well. And if you think about the new moon that you had in Aquarius prior to this, a lot of it was transforming your relationship to other people's money, debt, and loans. Now you've got a full moon here where maybe you're focusing on saving, paying stuff off, or maybe you just get a nice little bonus. I do recommend reassessing your financial strategy or possibly investing in something you're passionate about and really celebrating your worth. Self-esteem is really important whenever you have transits in the second house. Now, this is going to be squaring Uranus. So it tells me that there can be a friend, a network, groups, or even a goal that is actually helping push this forward. You network with somebody who gets you a job. You end up having a friend that says, hey, come and work for me. Somebody influences you and talks to you about investing in some of your creative projects or believing in yourself, and there in turn, it can kind of positively really aspect a lot of the things going on with your astrology. The card that I get for you is the Death card. Now, don't freak out. Actually, I think this is a good card. The Death card is kind of connected to Scorpio, Pluto, 8th house themes. And so if you look at this, the 8th house is about other people's money. So Sun, Mercury, Pluto can basically be saying because of your involvement with other people or your investments or returns or things revolving around tax refunds or spousal support or partner's money, somehow that can be benefiting you. And it's saying that there is a need for a change. Think of it as an upgrade. The Death card means that something's ending because something new is beginning. So maybe you're like, okay, I'm no longer spending money in this way. My goals have changed. This is what's happening. This is how it's going to end. And this is, why I'm making a change to some of the ways that I'm using my resources. And I think it's going to actually give you a little bit more freedom, especially when it comes to how you're working. Good luck, Cancer. We've got Leo and Leo rising. This is your full moon Leo, so pay attention, especially if you have anything around 22 to 25 degrees of Leo, as this full moon is definitely going to be aspecting some major things in your chart. Now, a full moon in the first house is going to be bringing up themes revolving around your personal identity, self-realization, and your life path. There could be a major glow up, a change going on with your body, your appearance, and it's also possible that there could be a pregnancy with a full moon in the first house. Now, usually emotions are running high when you've got a full moon in the first, so just be mindful that you're kind of wearing your heart on your sleeve a little bit during this lunation. This is bringing up the axis of you and then the 7th house of other people, where obviously Mercury, Sun, Pluto going through the 7th house, lots of changes going on with one-on-one relationships. Could be a new therapist, could be a spouse. It could also be about your marketplace. So you're responding to what other people need or your relationships to them. Now, during this particular full moon, I'm predicting that this is all going to be about major shifts with your life direction or your identity. I really recommend reflecting on your life's narrative and doing something that feels authentic to your core and celebrating you, right? Put yourself out there, be visible, shine. It's kind of hard not to shine when you have a full moon in your chart. But on top of that, this is going to be squaring Uranus in your 10th house. So it's almost like you and your emotions and all eyes on you and things that you've been thinking or feeling in contrast to other people are now being brought into the public sphere, the 10th house square with Uranus. So big announcements about who you're working with, where you're working, what's going on with your career, what's happening through romantic relationships. For some of you guys, it could feel like a make or break turning point when it comes to your professional life or your romantic life, but it's all going to be based off of what your heart is telling you during this full moon. Watch for the sudden changes that can be happening at work and the emotions that then may kind of follow with the full moon in your sign. The card that I got for you is the Ace of Cups. Beautiful card. Cups runneth over. I think a lot of this is also your chart ruler's in the 7th with Mercury. So somebody can be telling you how much they love you, how much they care about you, how much they want to be with you. You know, they need you. And this can be a very emotional kind of turning point, especially when it comes to a relationship. Usually this is a card that's an indicator of a new relationship kind of coming in. So I hope that this is a romantic full moon for you guys and that you are just really loving the energy that it brings. All right, we've got Virgo and Virgo rising. What's up, Virgo? You guys are doing this full moon in Leo in your 12th house. Man, whenever I think about this, transits for Virgo in the 12th house, I always think about like you guys either have some romantic stuff that's kind of karmic that's going on, or there's some kind of creative things going on behind the scenes. But maybe reflect on what's been happening with some of the retrogrades, specifically this last summer when Mercury went retrograde through your 12th house. Was there a confusing situation about a relationship? Were you working on a creative project? Was it a very spiritual time for you? You know, this full moon is highlighting the 12th and the 6th house axis. So it can be about health, work, and productivity versus rest, recuperation, downtime, and inspiration. So I think it's time for inner work. I think that's what's coming to light. I think it's also about spiritual insights and the need for solitude. This should be pretty prominent with a full moon in the 12th house. Expect some changes in your sleep schedule, but also some profound spiritual insights. Think inner growth and your subconscious, meditation, relaxation. These are the themes of the 12th. And I would say keep an eye on your health because you do have the Sun and Mercury going through the 6th house. Maybe you've been working too much. You need a day off. And I really recommend meditating or focusing on a spiritual practice or engaging in shadow work, therapy, healing, going to the spa. But this can also be a very romantic time with a full moon in the 12th house. I just think that this moon is going to be more about self-discovery in terms of creativity and romance. Card that I got for you is the Page of Coins, okay? So this can be talking about you, Virgo, but it can also be about a Capricorn or a Taurus or a younger person or a romantic interest. I see this as something that you might be working on behind the scenes or reevaluating behind the scenes, right? And it's interesting that it's in your 12th house, and this square that's happening to Taurus might be that you're reflecting on your relationship or your beliefs about money, about values, about spending, about education, about travel. Some of you guys might be traveling in a foreign land during this time. I mean, it is possible with the squares to Uranus. I feel like this is about sudden changes going on with travel health or work. So you're going to have to kind of work out some of the kinks here. But the Page of Pentacles can mean that you are starting something that can actually be very beneficial for your finances or for your health. Okay? Good luck, Virgo. We've got Libra and Libra rising. You guys will be experiencing a full moon in Leo in your natal 11th house. This is highlighting the axis of the 11th and the 5th. And obviously we've got the sun going through the 5th, Mercury there, Pluto there. So there's this huge focus on a total rebirth and transformation of creativity, having fun, children, romantic relationships, your personal projects, your joy, and your hobbies. So for you guys, a full moon that's happening in the 11th, this is really going to be highlighting for you your social connections, and that there can be a party, a big event, expanding deeper into some of your networks and some of your friendships. You could meet influential people here or see your social status change in a significant way. The themes are going to be also about your goals and your aspirations and what you bring your audience. So if you have to give a presentation, if you're working on the internet, you're talking to people for a living, this can be where you kind of debut and you put something out that's pretty significant that people might really like. I'm recommending for you guys to network, join a group, or lead a community project, celebrate your friendships, be there to support the ups and downs that might be going on for some of your friends. I say that because this is going to be a full moon that's going to square Uranus in your 8th house. So it can symbolize that there is some dramatic financial or psychological changes that are going on in your life that can be impacting you and how you relate to others, or other people going through some pretty dramatic financial changes and you still finding ways to be able to support and be there for them. And anything revolving around joint projects, group project works, and getting paid. The 11th house can represent, being involved online or on the internet or a part of groups, and something about some of the changes that's coming for that and how that's impacting your money or your income in some way. Good luck, Libra. We've got Scorpio and Scorpio rising. What's going on, Scorpio? You're going to have obviously a full moon that's going to be happening in Leo, and this will be in another fellow fixed sign. So I would say this is probably the rising sign that's going to have a little bit more of a challenging aspect. But with that being said, I think a grand fixed cross is a lot easier to navigate than a T-square. For everybody else, we're getting a T-square, but for you, Scorpio, if you have anything from 22 to 25 degrees of Scorpio, you're going to experience a grand fixed cross because you're going to see squares from your Scorpio planets to the sun in the 4th, to Uranus in the 7th, to the moon in the 10th. So this is a little bit more complex, and it basically means that there are things that are going to be happening on the home front which impact relationships, which impact work, and then it's going to push you to change. So I predict with a full moon in your 10th house that the themes revolving around career, public persona, and your life direction. With a full moon here, your career and your public image are likely going to shine. So being at work, being creative, connecting with other people, putting yourself out there is going to pay off. Some Scorpio risings are going to get major recognition or decide on a new life or career path. Now, I recommend making bold moves in your professional life, acknowledge your achievements, give yourself a pat on the back, allow yourself to have a moment in the spotlight, but be mindful of this. It is going to square Uranus in your 7th house. So even though work is just killing it, or there are some really good things kind of shaping up for your career, not everybody is going to necessarily be on board with some of this success or some of this change or exposure. It can bring some tension in some relationships, both professional as well as romantic. And we know that it is also opposing the sun in your 4th house. So it's like there's a lot going on in your inner world. Relationships might be changing, but work is thriving. So this is that moment where you have an opportunity for a breakthrough. I'd love to hear how this plays out, especially if you're one of those 22 to 25 degree Scorpios, what manifests for you, because that grand fixed cross is going to hold the energy of everything. And as you know, Scorpio, Mars has been retrograde, your ruling planet, in the 10th house. So you've already been reevaluating, do I leave the job? Do I go back to school? Do I go back to an old job? Do I take a break? And this might be kind of showing you what direction things are going to be going in when it comes to your professional life, your status in the world, and also themes revolving around maybe retirement. For some of you guys, it could be also about parenting. The card that I got for you is the Four of Wands. Interesting. This is a wedding card, by the way. The Four of Wands can be about a celebration. It can be about a big presentation. It can be about people encouraging you and applauding you for things that you're doing well. This can also be a time where there is some big life change, getting married, having a kid, getting pregnant, getting a promotion, you know, launching your business. And maybe you're starting to see some of the success kind of coming full circle, and like all eyes are on you. So you guys have to let me know what happens. We've got Sag and Sag rising. You guys will be experiencing a full moon in Leo in your natal 9th house. Obviously, this is a fellow sister fire sign, so I think that you're going to like this energy, Sag. Very, very friendly with your chart. And a full moon in the 9th house is bringing attention to the 3rd and the 9th. So it's going to be about learning, education, traveling, that kind of stuff. I think that for you guys, you know, if you can focus on adventure, knowledge, and philosophy, it's going to benefit you, because this is going to be a full moon that's really bringing about a desire for adventure or learning something new, traveling. You might be at an airport during this time. You might be focusing on higher education, law and legality, or legal documents, paperworks can kind of be in the mix. But actually, I think this is going to be a good one. I'm not really worried about this for you guys. I would just recommend, you know, during this time, either planning a trip, traveling, starting a new course of study, embracing this time to really expand your worldview. The only thing you got to watch out for is scheduling concerns, okay? You're going to see a square to Uranus in your 7th house, which seems to indicate that in order for you to do these things, like completing a degree, traveling, going somewhere, you know, focusing on some new thing that you're studying, there needs to be some upgrade and innovations in your day-to-day routine, or there needs to be a change to your schedule, or maybe you're learning more about health, you're learning about productivity. There's some changes going on in the office space even, or with some of your coworkers that's really prompting you to kind of communicate better. And also focus on where you're going in a much more positive light, all right? The card that I got for you is the High Priestess. I love this card, so beautiful. Wow, so I think of like the 9th house, and it can be sometimes about like this inner like knowing. It can also be about teachers and mentors and people who can kind of show us the way. But when the High Priestess card comes up for me in a reading, I always see that as like just knowing instinctually what you're meant to do. And maybe it's the 9th house knowing, but the 3rd house is putting it into words, or finding ways to write it down, or to share it, or to, you know, teach it in some way. Education is a huge theme with the 9th house, especially if you're an educator. So I could see this as being like a turning point where you're really learning to kind of trust your intuition and how to navigate some of the changes going on with your education, traveling, or your career, and being more flexible when it comes to your day-to-day life. And I think that you guys are going to know exactly what to do, and maybe you'll feel like you're at the right place in the right time. Good luck, Sag. We've got Capricorn and Capricorn rising. You guys are going to experience a full moon in Leo in your natal 8th house. All right, so like I said, for you in Cancer, this is very financial because it's highlighting your money houses. So a full moon in the 8th house obviously shakes things up quite a bit when it comes to your private world. I'm talking shadow work, transformation, intimacy, shared resources, taxes, inheritances, anything psychological. Obviously, you know, intense emotional experiences happen when we have planets in the 8th house. So when you have a full moon here, these themes are going to be especially around shared resources or intimacy, and things might be surfacing that you haven't dealt with or that you weren't as really conscious of. So I'm recommending to work on trust issues, or diving deep into therapy, into psychology, into healing. This is a time for deep bonding and healing. And obviously this is all going to be coming into a square with Uranus in your 5th house. So it's really saying that, well, what is bringing this on? Okay, children, romance, vulnerability, gambling, investing, risking. I've seen full moons in the 8th house materialize as like a lump sum or money coming in suddenly. I've also seen it materialize as like a major breakthrough in therapy. But for Capricorn rising, it seems like big risk, big reward. And whether that's with self-employment, if that's with, you know, starting a family, if that's with dating someone, really joy, creativity, and self-expression seems to be the primary focus. And that's really where you're focusing most of your energy, and you're wanting to kind of feel more alive and free. For some of you guys, it can be about going to the next level in relationships and just being a little bit more vulnerable and talking about psychological stuff, some of your pain or your trauma, or even your finances. And for some of you guys, cashing out on some things might bring you some kind of breakthrough as a result of this full moon. The card that I get is the Eight of Coins. So whatever you're doing is working. I guess that's the good news. And if you've been working hard, especially at creative ventures, hobbies, or side projects, it can actually be really beneficial and you can see it paying off. This is a card of becoming, I think, a master of your trade. Okay, so literally I'm looking at the Uranus square and I'm like, are you guys trading? Are you involved in the stock market? Are you learning about crypto? Is it, some creative business? And are you doing something artistic, or are you doing something that you're building or you're designing? These things can pay off, and it talks about really kind of perfecting something. So what are you perfecting when it comes to your joint financial resources? What are you figuring out? What's working and what's not working? And what changes have you made that were kind of connected to risk? I'm wondering that. Good luck, guys. We've got Aquarius and Aquarius rising. You guys are going to experience a full moon in Leo in your natal 7th house of relationships and partnerships. More of a continuation of some of the stuff that you've been seeing recently. So to kind of put it together for you guys, a full moon in the 7th house is going to be about major turning points in some of your intimate one-on-one relationships. Relationships are the focus here in the 7th house. And whether that's partnerships, finding balance, mediating, this could also be about clients, your marketplace, working with a therapist, working with an astrologer. That's all the 7th house stuff. So, my recommendation is to open up in all forms, be open to love, maybe have a heart-to-heart with someone important. And I say this because there are so many aspects that directly correlate to you, Aquarius. It's wild. So the ruler of the moon is the sun in your sign. So usually when planets go through your first house, you're more focused on the self. And Pluto, Sun, Mercury in the first house, me, what I think, what I'm going through. And you're going to get a reaction or a response from other people. So people are giving you feedback. Maybe they want to partner with you. Maybe you're seeing some challenges in regards to other people. And the moon and the sun are squaring your chart ruler Uranus in the 4th. So I think this is going to bring some kind of action in relationships and how you and another person are dealing with or handling changes on the home front. Is it you that's wanting to make a change and a partner's like, oh my God, what are we doing? Is it that your partner is going through something or having some unexpected shift or change? Particularly, it could be with their career, and this is about you giving them feedback or being there to kind of support them at this time. I just know that you're kind of the wild card in this one. Even though the focus is on the 7th house, it's things that you're doing, your relationship with yourself, or changes that are going on within the home and family that's bringing about some of these unexpected dynamic shifts in relationships. Now, I do see with full moons like this, people say, you know what, that's it, I'm moving out. Or, let's be together, let's get married, let's go and find a place to live, or let's go on an adventure together and, see where it goes. Something unexpected is going to be happening in relationships that's going to totally kind of make some changes in your interpersonal world, either emotionally or in your domestic zone. Very curious to see how this plays out for you guys. You'll see it a couple days leading up to this full moon. I get the Knight of Coins. So something revolving around possibly a Taurus, a Virgo, or a Capricorn, or this can be about you taking a more cautious approach to dealing with relationships, partnerships, clients, whatever. You're like, okay, I'm not going to react to this. Let them have their moment. Certainly the full moon in Leo can be quite dramatic. But I think this is about you really thinking long and hard about the steps that you're taking in relationships and what you need for stability and how you're able to better work with people. And whether that's your romantic partners and talking about financial matters, or if this is clients and kind of working out business, I do feel like it is going to add like a sense of stability to what can be a bit of a destabilizing moon. So just take your time, pace yourself, slow and steady wins the race. Mercury in your sign in opposition to the moon means that you're perhaps going to be in a situation where somebody's very emotional and you're trying to respond in a very logical, practical way. I'm just going to give you some advice, okay? If you're dealing with a spouse or a partner or a client that's freaking out, you almost need to be like, do you want advice or do you want to vent? most likely they're going to want to vent. Let them vent, because you're going to just give them advice and then that may not necessarily help them, and you might see that they can get even more emotional. So try to ask them what it is that they need and be in tune with what's going on with them so you can kind of keep the peace. All right? Good luck. And we finally got our Pisces and Pisces risings. What's up, Pisces? You got a full moon in Leo happening. This will be in your natal 6th house of health, habits, and routine, highlighting the 6th house and the 12th house, which is more mystical, magical, spiritual. You guys are kind of in la la land as all these planets are moving through your 12th house if you're a Pisces rising. So this is like that annual wrap up of how has the year gone? What am I reviewing? What am I keeping? What am I letting go as you're getting ready to come into what's going to be Pisces season? And there's going to be this fresh new energy that's going to be emerging for you. I'm predicting that this is all about health, work, and your health habits, and that they can become more enjoyable or require some creative adjustments. So the themes, like I said, are health, daily work, service, sometimes your pets. It can also be about fellow employees. I'm recommending that you innovate your work or your health routine and start a new health practice, or maybe volunteer, celebrate your ability to serve. This can also be about making more time for dating, making time to work out, be healthy in a creative way. So think like dance classes and other things that can be fun and athletic. This can also be a time where health matters are coming to the surface. So if you've been working on health habits and routine, this is when you can start to see the results. If there is something that comes up, you're feeling under the weather, right? Something like that, it can actually be impacting your ability to work. And then you're going to land more in the 12th house, which can be more about resting, recuperating, and kind of getting your act together so you're feeling a little bit better. Now, this is a little tricky because it is squaring Uranus. Okay, so it means that there is something that's coming from your 3rd house that's impacting your health habits and routine, and also maybe your sleep or your sense of just feeling kind of settled. And Uranus in the 3rd house means that your nervous system, the way you're communicating, unexpected issues with your throat or communication. So it could be getting sick, and that's impacting your ability to work or communicate with people. But it could also mean that, unexpectedly there's some travel that threw my schedule for a loop, or unexpectedly there's something that happened with a neighbor or with a vehicle and they need my help moving, or, my car's having an electrical issue and I have to have it serviced and I didn't see that coming. And communication breakdown can be some challenges. So I would really encourage you guys to keep an open mind in how you're communicating in regards to work and health matters. Sometimes I think with like the Sun and Mercury square, saying nothing is, sometimes the answer. It's just waiting for the dust to settle before you have important conversations and communications with people, and maybe just keeping a little bit more flexible when it comes to your schedule, okay? Watch for the mental stress and how can it impact the health or the digestion with this full moon. The card that I get for you is the Tower card. It had to be somebody. So, for me, I think that this card kind of coming up for you guys is that this can be that turning point where you're like, this thing is not working. Whether it's the job, the relationship, the habit, like whatever, it's going to represent this shift in your mind. I think with the squares to Uranus, that's like, this isn't working anymore. Okay, so what do I do about it? And the willingness to kind of clear the decks and kind of start over. Certainly for some Pisces and Pisces risings, it could mean you're getting a job and so you got offered a new job, so you end one, right? Or that there's a health issue that comes up and it prompts you to start something new. But see this more as the opportunity to create change and build something that could be better or could be stronger, a healthier relationship, healthier routine, a healthier job or work environment can certainly come from this as well. Remember guys, this is going to be a dramatic full moon, so I'm wishing you guys all the best. Let the stars guide you on this one, but really it's up to us to choose which direction this is going to go. Set your intentions, perform your rituals, and I hope that you guys really enjoy this full moon in Leo. It is certainly very royal. Thank you guys so much for joining me for my video today. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. And let me know how this full moon unfolds for all of you. And until next time, I will see all of you very soon. Don't forget to join me tomorrow. We're doing live tarot as well. So I'll be posting that link on my community tab. And I'll be able to give you guys some info on this up and coming full moon in 2 weeks when we do astrology. For all that and more, check out my work on beyondtheveiledtarot.com, and I will see all of you guys here very soon. Take care.